All right, let's dive into a really important pathway to Australia, the Subclass 461 visa. Now, if you're a family member of a New Zealander who's either living in or planning to move to Australia, then you're going to want to stick around. This explainer is tailor-made for you.
So let's just get straight to the point. Is your goal to join a family member from New Zealand who's setting up a life in Australia? If you're nodding your head right now, then you are in exactly the right place, because the visa we're about to break down was created for this very reason.
So what is this visa exactly? Well, to put it simply, it's a temporary visa for the family members of a New Zealand citizen. But, and this is key, you can't be a New Zealander yourself. The whole thing hinges on that family connection. Usually that means you're their partner or a dependent child, but in some very specific cases, it can even include other dependent relatives living in the same house.
Okay, so what does this visa actually get you? This isn't just some short-term visitor pass. We're talking about a 5-year opportunity to really build a life in Australia. Let's dig into what that time frame truly means for you.
Yup, you heard that right. 5 years. That's the length of this visa. That's a solid chunk of time to live, to work, to get settled in, and to really experience what life in Australia is all about, right alongside your family. It offers a genuine sense of stability, a real runway to plan what's next.
So, what can you do in those 5 years? Well, a lot. You've got the freedom to live anywhere you want in Australia. You have the right to work, which is obviously huge for financial independence. You can also study, if that's your goal. And, importantly, it lets you travel in and out of the country as much as you want. That gives you some amazing flexibility.
All right, this all sounds pretty great, but let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Who can actually apply? We're now at the most crucial part of the whole process, understanding the fundamental eligibility requirements. Think of this as the first big gate you have to get through.
So the main requirements really boil down to 3 things. First, you can't be a New Zealand citizen yourself. That one's simple. Second, you have to prove you're part of a New Zealander's immediate family unit. And third, you've got to meet all the standard criteria for Australian immigration. That usually means passing health and character checks. These 3 points, they're the absolute non-negotiable foundation of your application.
Let's say you tick all those eligibility boxes. What's next? Well, we need to talk about the practical stuff. Every application comes down to 2 key resources: money and time. So let's break down what you need to know about the cost and, of course, the waiting game.
The application fee starts at $445 Australian dollars. Now, it's really important to remember that this is just the base fee from the Department of Home Affairs. You might have other costs, like for health checks or getting your biometrics done, so you should definitely think of this as your starting point when you're budgeting.
And now for the question everyone asks: how long will it take? The honest answer? There's no single answer. Processing times can be all over the map, depending on how many people are applying and how complicated each case is. The Department of Home Affairs does have an online tool that gives you a rough estimate, but you've got to remember it's just a guide. Your own situation could be different, so a little bit of patience is definitely required.
Okay, this is a super important piece of advice that comes directly from the source material. A lot of people think about getting help with their visa application, and that's fine. But the government really wants you to do your homework first. Before you hand over any money, make sure you understand who is legally allowed and qualified to give you immigration help. It's a huge step in protecting yourself from any trouble.
So we've covered a lot. We've seen that the Subclass 461 visa gives you this amazing 5-year window to live, work, and study in Australia with your family from New Zealand. It's a massive opportunity for sure, but it's also a temporary one. So the real question to ask yourself isn't just whether this is the right next move, but how you'll make the most of those 5 years to build the future you're dreaming of in Australia.